Hello, welcome to the Double M Farm. For years I have wanted to run a water line from the spring at the bottom of the hill up to the barn for watering the stock. And for the past 10 years I've been unable to find a machine I could get up the hill. I tried it with a Terramite. There you see part of the water line that I've gotten in. I've got to finish running it from here under the fence over to the barn. But over the years I've tried it with a Terramite and had someone come look at it that had a ditch witch, and he wouldn't even unload his ditch witch after he looked at it. Said it was too steep. That is holding the camera straight. This water line I just put in comes up that hill. I know depth perception does not show up on a camera, but believe me when I tell you that is almost straight up. Again, that is level. And I got her in with the Harbor Freight Trencher. A good use of the Harbor Freight Trencher. This particular job on the farm is one of the reasons I decided to buy the trencher. I've had it for quite a while now and just now getting around to putting this in. As you can see, we're in a lot of shade. It's through the woods at the side of the hill. So I didn't even attempt to film the trencher digging in this water line. It's just too steep and too much shade. The spring is way down there at the bottom of the hill. And again, that is level. That's level camera right there. And I told you I tried it with the Terramite a couple of years ago, and you can see I haven't finished covering it up. I've got it covered to this point here, and it's still partially open. Going on down, if I can get down this thing without falling. It's so darn steep. There's the spring. You see that pipe? Oh, stubbed up out of the ground. I'm sliding down the hill here. Forgive the shaking camera. Whew. There's the spring right there. That pipe's about 15 foot down, and the water bubbles up sometimes almost out of the top of that pipe. And I've got it buried to this point here. The pipe is right in the ground, and there's the power line to run the pump. I've got to bury another about 15 foot to get it over there. I left this part open so that I could drive in and out until I'm ready to finish this. But we'll turn back around to the hill that we came down. You can see the drop off there. And the goats will get out of the way. That water line goes up that hill. Again, I'll hold the camera straight. That's straight level with the camera right there. If you were going to drive straight, that's straight level. And that sucker goes up very steep to the top of the hill. Again, we tried the Terramite starting right here, and when I started trying to go up this hill, if I tried driving straight up the hill, I couldn't keep the front end of the Terramite on the ground. It almost tipped. If it hadn't been for the bucket, it would have tipped backwards on me. So I gave up on that. Turned around and tried to back it up, and all it would do was spin. Had a guy come look at it that had a ditch witch, four-wheel drive ditch witch, and when he came around and stood here and looked up this hill, he wouldn't even unload his ditch witch. And he said if I'd be responsible for any accidents and injuries or destruction to his machine, he'd try it. And I'm not even going to tell you what he was going to charge me. And I told him to go ahead, that I understood if he didn't want to do it, but just forget about it. So then enter the Harbor Freight Trencher. I pulled that sucker up right here, put it in digging mode, reached the boom out and grabbed the side of that mountain and pulled and walked this thing up. I will say that I didn't feel comfortable raising the dipper and boom up real high. It felt like the machine was going to tilt backwards. It never did even attempt. The outriggers never came up out of the ground. but it just did not feel comfortable. So I tried to keep the boom and dipper stick as low as possible when I was digging and dumping the dirt. But she crawled up this mountain and dug in this. I crawled her all the way up to the top and then dug my way back down. And it was amazing, the job that the Harbor Freight Trencher did. Could not get anyone to come do it for pay, and couldn't do it with the Terramite, but the Harbor Freight Trencher crawled up the mountain, dug in the water line, and I'm having to cover it by hand. Normally I would have, on my way, I would have covered it back up with the bucket on the trencher, but there's so much rock, I'm having to do it by hand. You can see the rock that I've been digging out. There's one there, huge heavy rock, plus the roots. And the rock, there's so many rocks that I'm having to dig around the rock with the shovel to cover up the pipe by hand so that I don't get a lot of rock on the pipe. I'm scared to crush the pipe over time. So I'm covering it up by hand. But just wanted to give you an idea of the kind of job that you can run into, where the Harbor Freight Trencher will do it when nothing else will, or no one else is willing to try. So, the reason I bought the Harbor Freight Trencher. Appreciate you visiting us here on the Double M Farm, and we'll talk to you again.